It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
Let's Talk Wednesday on the BS3 Network. Got Terry T.B. Brown over there. Vinny Hardy here. Sometimes just the two of us. Sometimes we have guests. We got a couple guests tonight. We got a long time friend of the show that we can't count how many times we've been on. We got a first time guest.
11.
Yeah, that's it. Precisely. 11 times for our man JR The Bossman, who's backstage to talk some NBA, apron, All-Star game, Hawks, all the topics. Then we got Coach Ryan, who's the Big Blue Ball Pod, who'll be on at 7, talking about a bad loss to the Bulldogs. We'll say that for 7 o'clock. Just kind of going right along with what you were talking about Sunday on the Round the Shot show that you do. But without further ado, we get to our guest. He is also part of the BS3 Network. I see him also on the Believe Network streets. Hosts his own show. He interviews everybody. He got a fun interview he's talking about before we were recording coming up next Tuesday that he just dying to do. He's on his in-season vacation right now. You know, the Lakers won the in-season tournament. This man is on in-season vacation, coming to us from the city of brotherly love, JR The Bossman. What's happening, JR?
Benny, vacation ended for yesterday when I got on that plane to come up here. It ended yesterday for me.
He's back.
So no, when I got on the plane from Miami to Philadelphia is when the vacation ended for me, brother.
I got you.
So I was in the Bahamas for All-Star break. I told you I would do when I talked to y'all last for my All-Star break island excursion.
Yes. And now back in Philly because the Hawks are there. So vacation, you're not on vacation now. You're already back. I got you. I appreciate you correcting me, man.
Yes, I'm at the Four Seasons Philadelphia where the room costs $903.
All right. They putting you up.
The bed 7'4", Vinny. The bed 7'4" back there behind me. I ain't that tall, but the bed 7'4" though.
So you got the player accommodations there.
Yes, always. Every time on the road, I get the extra large bed with the jacuzzi in the room and the kind of a front room area too. For most hotels we stay here, yeah. You know, you got the kitchen area. You know, it's pretty nice, but you know the bed 7'4". It's very comfortable. You don't get about this bed. It's so comfortable, man. It's that double king.
The Ralph Sampson Wemby bed. Okay.
Yes. And I ain't got to pay for none of it. Thank God.
I hear you, man. Do you cook in that kitchen area when you travel?
No, sir. I went and got me a nice chicken Philly with some fries, no salt. And I got my Canadian sparkling water, Mountain Blackberry, and my Orchard Peach here with me. I don't drink pops, Minnie, and soda and TB. I drink Canadian sparkling water or regular water.
All right. Well, I need to do better.
That's how you don't get fat when you trap all the time, Benny. Only on those road, TB. That's how you don't get fat. You gotta cut out the carbs and sugar where you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you.
Mm-hmm. So you said you were on vacation during the All-Star break. Have you ever attended an All-Star game? Have you ever, or do you always skip out on it?
In my early days, yes. The last one I went to was 2020 Chicago, pre-COVID, which COVID is probably already here then, but nobody was getting sick like crazy. But think about it was February before COVID started because COVID was on my birthday. March 11th was on my birthday. So that's when we was at the arena, the Knicks game, and it got canceled forever. and Rudy Gobert did whatever the heck Rudy Gobert did. So that was it. So yeah, I ain't been to All-Star game since then. And truthfully, I don't want to go because I'd rather go to the islands now and get away and reset and think about 26 more games, TB and Vinny until my goal of 5 months off.
So by that, Matt TB, JR is predicting no playoffs at all for these Hawks. The regular season,
yes, correct.
Out.
Sunday on the 12th of April at 2:30, I should be on vacation to see. I'll talk to y'all on the 15th, and then I'm gone 5 months.
Well, since we talked to you last time, your boy is gone. How you feel about that down there in Atlanta?
I feel great. Hey, TB and Vinny, I don't drink much, but I dang sure pop me a bottle at night.
Celebratory something.
Yes, I did celebrate. Yes,
man.
Yes, I did.
I'm just
can't tell you I did.
Look, yep, we always appreciate how candid you are, brutally honest. I'm just glad you're not doing nothing to jeopardize yourself, because you don't hold back. But I'm glad that I'm glad you're able to do that and not have repercussions, man.
Yeah. Hey, I mastered saying what I want to say, what they can't do nothing about it. I've mastered that because I go on other shows too and say the same things, and I've mastered saying what I want to say and still getting away with it. That's why a certain bald-headed guy mad at me right now, because I talk the way I talk and he don't like it. It's not my fault you're tanking the league, sir.
Yeah, so where are you on the tanking? We went from 1 or 2 teams to now it's 11, 12 teams trying to.
Well, let me go back, TB, for you. When I'm influenced by content creators and loudmouths, got offended because people talking about tanking again. Back in 2018, remember, he flattened the lottery odds, right? So that means that if you're the worst record, you're guaranteed the 5th pick in the draft at worst, right? When the old odds is the 4th pick. And y'all know, we all three know that 4 and 5 is a big difference sometimes in talent.
Yeah.
So if you're the worst record and you get the 5th pick, the best player ain't coming to you. So him flattening the odds due to loudmouths, who I won't name, but you all know who they are. These popular podcasters who had former national prominence per se, who are on the coast. Like, nah, bro. Like, TB, Memphis got lucky in 19 and got Ja Morant because the odds are flat. But if you look at the flattened odds, the worst team, but they don't get the first pick. Only Detroit pulled that off and got Cade Cunningham. So my point of it is this. How do you help bad teams get better? The freaking draft. So, yes, if my team is bad and I can't sign a veteran, I have to play the young guys and tank to get the opportunity to get a good player in my building, because nobody going to sign in Utah. Nobody going to sign in Memphis. Nobody going to sign in Indiana on their own. So teams, the small market teams who he's supposed to be looking out for, this is how they get good players in the building. How they get players in the door. So I am cool with teams tanking. You got to be either very good or very bad. Can't be in the middle. The Atlanta Hawks. The Chicago Bulls. You know what I'm saying? The Memphis Grizzlies. You know what I mean? Teams like you can't be stuck in the middle. So then you take it to the point of the second aprons. You can't go, so now the aprons, you can't really sign middle class guys. You're worrying about the second apron and the first apron and the tax. So the aprons is also constricted roster building. So you got to give teams a way to get good. This is just overblown because these talking loud mouths who are idiots who podcast on their freaking mouths make this dummy in New York move. Oh God, they're talking about the league. They do this. You're an idiot. Talking about abolishing the draft and what? What a clown. The bad teams need a chance to get better. Tanking is a good business play.
You put us on to the tanking way before, or not the tanking, the aprons way before anybody else, and how that hamstrings teams. Like, how are they supposed to get good if you take away the draft and you add on these like, how do you build a team? How do you keep a team together?
Correct. So you need young, cheap talent on good contracts for the Utah Jazz. If you're Indiana. If you're somebody like Portland, nobody gonna sign there either. Sacramento, Memphis, you need Charlotte to a degree. But TB, and Vinny, you know what caused this? I'm gonna say who caused it: the loudmouth podcasters, the gambling companies, and the Thunder. The Thunder tanked to get Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams for 2 years. But you're gonna throw the Jazz on the bus. You won't want the Jazz pick because it's protected. Jazz pick is protected top 8. It goes to the Thunder if it's 9 and below. But the Thunder, the team who built themselves by tanking, didn't play Al Horford you trade for Al Horford and play him not 1 minute. But now you're going to Baldy talking about they're tanking. They didn't make them be competitive. Really, Sam Presti? Really? Come on, bro. Heck, Houston tanked. Vinny, they tanked for a while to get young players in the building when they wasn't good. So if you're tanking, you're going to take on bad contracts like the Wizards. They took on Chico the Barge and street clothes.
Yeah.
They're tanking. And they ain't going to touch the floor. So tanking is a good business practice for NBA teams to go. You go through cycles. If you build a team up, you realize you're in the middle, you break it up, and you tear it down to the studs and rebuild it. But these loudmouth podcasters who move this weak bald commissioner who have no kind of backbone, I gotta move. All these the same losers who run their mouths that he wants to overreact.
Yeah, the thing that gets me is people pretending that every year all 30 NBA teams have a chance to win the championship, and that's not the case, right?
Correct.
Talk about like no league is like that. Every year you've got maybe 5 or 6 teams where like these are the ones, right, that we think that the champion is going to come through. We got the other teams those teams that win beat on the way to the championship, right? Like the Atlanta Hawks that the Bulls used to take care of in round 1, right? The Mookie Blaylock team with Steve Smith and them. And then you got the teams that are just terrible. Like there's always been terrible teams. And just because we don't think they're tanking, Vinny, last week we talked about like the 9-73 Dallas Mavericks, right? Like I felt like they were tanking, even though they weren't calling it tanking. But that is how you end up with Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn, and Jim Jackson, all 3 in a row.
Tom Bradley and all of them.
Right. That's how you do that, right? So just because we wasn't calling it that doesn't mean it wasn't happening.
Correct. And also,
go ahead, man.
And also, TB, this might as well be his point, man. Like, you've taken away tools for teams to get better, man. Like, and also, why would you be a bad team paying a luxury tax with me in April? So I heard these clowns talking about, the aprons are not causing player movement. People are making trades to duck the tax because they're not going to win anything. Why am I putting a luxury tax? I ain't going to win nothing. Just see, I'm going to make trades to get out of tax. Like these loudmouths, they on ESPN, they on podcasts, they don't know nothing. Like, shut up. But the problem is, if this weak commissioner didn't listen to his garbage and he gets all in it, wants to get all in action to appease a small minority over there running the mouths. That's a problem with this guy. That's why I call him dumb baldy. He's stupid. He's inept. He's all in over his head. Yeah. Because tanking's been a thing for years, TB and Vinny. Yeah. If your team's not good, okay, they're gonna win games. Like, okay, give an example before you say some TB, respond. The Kings aren't really tanking, they're just bad. So your punch team that says that's bad, the Kings aren't taking, they're just bad. New Orleans not taking it. They remember the Hawks own the plug and pick. They're not tanking. They're just bad. So you're gonna punish the bad teams because you think a few teams are tanking for real? That's where the logic of these people is crazy. TB and Vinny.
And that's part of it is like David Stern had his faults, but I think he had a clear vision for what the league should be, right? And it went from tape delay to being the main thing under his tutelage. What kills me is all these voices like you talking about, JR, that want to do all this tweaking to the NBA. They're part of the reason that most fans don't care about the regular season, right? Because Screaming A. Smith is always talking about, well, we'll see what happens in April and May. Well, no, you got to appreciate the journey to that point. It's up to the media partners to tell the story of this is why we play 82 games. Look at this. Don't just sit here and act like you just waiting. Like November comes around, we just wait till the All-Star game. All-Star game happens. We're not going to care anything about that because what happened? Kawhi played hard. Them boys played hard on Sunday. I'm going to get
around the gas.
Yeah. They just, But Stephen A. talking about, we'll see Kawhi, what happens in April. Like, we can't appreciate what happened right here in front of us. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so
it's always what's next? What's next? What's next?
You talk about these dudes don't care because when they do something during the regular season, you tell us it doesn't matter.
The propaganda you hear.
Right. Like, I got to hear all these people on Fox and ESPN talk about who's the face of the league. I don't care. I'm here for basketball. Like, the face of the league, that's a natural thing. Ain't got nothing to do with what you say or I say. Whoever the person is becomes the person. Right?
Exactly.
And so we get all these narratives. I got to hear 5 or 6 different people talk about, well, this is LeBron's fault. It's not LeBron. Look, man, I don't like all these people are grown. Like,
that's why I don't watch that stuff, TB, because it's garbage. It's trash.
I don't either.
Like, I have a homeboy who texts me telling me what Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe say. I don't care what them soft racists have to say. They are soft racists. If you hear what they say, they're soft racists. I'm gonna call what I hear. They're soft racists. How they be talking about black players? Okay.
Well,
I don't care what they have to say.
And that's my thing too. If I can follow up on that, JR.
Yes, go right ahead.
Are there legitimate criticisms of the NBA? Absolutely. But it always gets coded in that racial language, like we heard in the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
The National Black Association. That people always take it to a point. I've heard for 50 years, all my life, about how they never play hard in the NBA. Like, I've always heard that. And it's like, man, what are you talking about? These dudes are the best of the best, right? Yeah, it gets ratcheted up in the playoffs. They playing. But I got to hear about how great college basketball is. I love both of them, but the level of play in the NBA is better because they're professionals. Let's keep it on.
And I'm gonna tell you an ignorant comment I heard from Brian Windhorst, Vinny and TB. He is so ignorant to say, I don't know how American can be on the world team talking about Norman Powell and Karl Anthony Towns. Sucker. I'm an American. I have Jamaican citizenship as well, you dummy. Dominican's mama's Dominican. His dad's black. Norman Powell's grandparents from Jamaica. So this fat slob said he wants out of American, he been a world team. What shows how he doesn't know about history. Because guess what, you fat blob? It was a pointing finger and a boat trip to why American, Jamaican, Bahamian, where I came from, and vice versa. Which showed me he has no sense of history, guys. Say it, make an ignorant statement on his little podcast.
I think that I can't remember what player said it. Maybe Kevin Durant. Just talking about the passes that the European players get.
Yes.
As far as not playing hard in the All-Star game and not putting that work in. Like, we made a big deal when the Nuggets won the championship and Jokic was like, all right, I'm going to go back and race my horses. Everybody's like, that's cool. But the ask for American players is you got to show up. You got to reach out. You got to do this and all this kind of stuff. What about these other people? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you like, there's parts of everybody's job they don't like. Whatever your job is, you don't like it. if you got to cover Chico DeBarge, for example. Like, but whatever your job is, there's stuff you don't like it, but you have to do because it's part of it.
Yes.
If you don't want to deal with the grown of the game, then don't play basketball here. Like, if you don't want to have that responsibility, don't do it. But people keep piling on LeBron James. Like, he's been playing for a quarter century. Like, is somebody else going to step up and quote unquote be the face? Y'all going to blame him for everything.
Yeah.
That's my soapbox on that.
Nah, you're right, man. Like, for me, man, that's why I just stay in my lane, bro. I come on these shows and I talk real. I don't have narrative here. I shoot y'all facts. Like, I ain't bought and paid by nobody. Like, there are people in these podcasts and on ESPN who's scared to talk about the aprons and how bad they really are. And a couple of dudes I'm cool with. I don't want to say their names on your show and get them upset and get them call my phone. But whatever. They be carrying balls water about this apron stuff. It's not good for the NBA. It's not. You can't build a team. So watch this, guys. Let's keep it the draft. If you draft well, you can't retain all your picks. You have to pick and choose now because of the aprons.
And that's the frustrating thing is we've ushered in this new era that since Toronto won in 2019, there's been a different champ every year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what the NBA is. Like, that's the NFL model, right? The NFL model
that's what Baldy wants to emulate, though, TB. He wants to emulate the NBA. He wants to emulate the NFL model. That's what Baldy wants to do, unfortunately.
But that's not what the NBA is. The NBA is
I'm with you.
You put your team together, you rock it out for 2 or 3, right? Because we went through about 25 years with nothing but back-to-back champs.
Yeah. Yep.
Between the Celtics and the Lakers and the Pistons and the Bulls and the Rockets and then the Lakers again. Like, it was, you got to do it.
That made it interesting for the casual fan.
Right, because you know these teams. But every year, you don't.
And you had a villain. You had a villain to cheer against.
Yes. I had to cheer against Tim Duncan. I know people like, how can you dislike Tim Duncan? I was a Lakers fan in the 2000s. I'm cheering against Tim Duncan. It's relatively easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm with you, man. This parity thing. And guess what, guys? Expansion's coming. Vegas and Seattle. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. The Timberwolves will be in the Eastern Conference, okay? So that's going to happen. Vegas and Seattle. So you have an expansion draft coming up. So think about on your favorite teams who are going to be your top 8 to protect for the expansion draft. That's coming because Baldy wants to get the expansion teams in there before the CBA expires. The CBA is going to be opted out of on October 15th, 28. So we'll see if the clowns on the roster right now who negotiated his horrible apron deal, Mr. Apron himself, who's down the hall, idiot. if we can get that out of the league, hopefully, next CBA, because him and his stupidity. So black fans, you want to blame somebody? Blame Baldy and this dude down the hall, the apron man. We call him the apron man. If he can mess it up, nobody else can.
Yeah.
Hey, but I went from Chico DeBarge to the apron man.
Yeah.
Look, unlucky me.
Yeah.
I thought about you when I saw that. I said, you traded one problem for another.
Yes. For real. Like, you can't make that up, man.
You cannot make that up, can you? Like, I go from Chico DeBarge to the apron man.
Yeah.
So what in the world? Why do you deserve this? You know what I'm saying? All I want is go on vacation for 5 months. I don't ask for much. 5 month vacation. That's all I ask for.
Well, I do think, because we got next guest coming in a couple of minutes, I do think you might get your wish on that, though. You might just get a regular season this year. You might not have any extension.
Might be a good day for me. Now I'll talk to y'all on tax day, the 15th, in celebration of my 5 month vacation.
There we go.
We can do it. I mean, I'll be surprised if they pull it off. And
I hope they don't pull it off. I don't want to stick around a week longer. I gotta be around this apron man a day. You know how much I want to go slap him every day, guys? That's why I slap backhand him every day for what he did. The apron man. Look at like you apron idiot, you fool. I can't look at him straight, y'all. If I want to hit him.
Yeah, and it got no traction for approval. That like he wasn't alone in thinking that was a good idea. So
hey, hey guys, remember I told you that thing passed 227 to 223.
Skin of his teeth, but hey,
yeah,
that's how close it was not passing. It
51 to 49, basically.
Yes, because guys didn't read.
Yeah, but I think now that
they read it, but now I'm good.
Yeah,
because think about it. Wait, I know you got to do some next gas before you go. Think about it. You got maxes and minimums, and the middle has gotten getting squeezed.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I didn't think about that.
And now with the new CBA guys, teams don't give out their middle of the exception anymore. The middle level is used as a trade exception now. You can use that for trades now. So teams save it to February the 5th for the deadline. They don't sign you to it. And so that's squeezing guys, ESPN suck ups. So you got guys not getting signed because they saving the non-taxable exception for the trade deadline. The trade use it to take on money to help people deduct the tax.
Yeah.
So the moves that you saw the deadline guys were to what? Duck the tax. It's not because the CBA is good. Because if I'm not going to win anything, what I'm paying the tax for?
Yeah, that's real pointless for sure. But man, we always appreciate the insights.
Yes, sir.
And
love talking hoops.
Brutal honesty and the behind the scenes NBA because you are right in the heart of the league and those stuff you tell us is coming down the pipe ahead of time, like like this apron thing that you were telling us about way back when you first coming on. So we appreciate it. Sorry that the All-Star break vacation's over. I know you got to, cover the Hawks in Philly tomorrow. So hope everything goes as smooth as possible for the remainder of your time this year. So.
Hey, every loss is a good day for me, buddy.
Man, we appreciate you.
We'll
I'll see y'all. Hold it down, brothers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, JR.
All right.
JR The Bossman, host of the Bossman Show, covers the Hawks, the Braves, interviews with all the players. March Madness, he basically gets pretty much every coach in the tournament on his show that's in the field. So
he's like, here I am with this coach. I'm like, man, you moving and shaking. He's like the dude that Noah do. So when I tell people agrees with JR.
Yeah, sure. This next dude is making his first appearance on the show, but he is podcasting and writing and doing all kinds of stuff for the Cats. He hosts the Big Blue Ball Show. He writes as well. We'll get into talk about where he writes at. He's a coach because the coach is in his bio. Coach Ryan, Kentucky. Coach, we'll bring you right on in, man. Welcome to the pod. Appreciate you joining us. How you doing, sir?
What's up, guys? Good to have you on. Tough to follow the JR The Bossman. I mean, tough crowd, but glad to be on. Glad to make my debut on Cats Talk Wednesday here.
Well, we're glad to have you, Coach.
Absolutely, man. So just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the therapy that you was tweeting about and we witnessed last night. Just tell us about yourself, where you're from, and how you got into coaching and where you went to school, all that bio
all that
stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah. So I'm a Lexington kid. Grew up here in Lexington. Fan of Kentucky my whole life. My favorite Wildcat of all time is Jared Lorenzen in any sport. I was kind of that prime age. But when I went off to college, went to Eastern Kentucky University, was a student manager there, and went to I was on the last EKU team that went to the tournament. That team that took Kansas down to the wire. I was part of that staff, which was an awesome experience. Obviously, we ended up overseas at one point with that team playing in Australia with the NBL, and had a pretty good run there at Eastern. Had a couple guys. Corey Walden was one of them. I don't know if you remember him. Led the NCAA in steals one year. Just an absolute defensive juggernaut, and as kind of a guy on the coaching side of things, whether it be AAU, any school coaching I've done anything like that, camp coaching. I pride myself as more defensive coach. So having a guy like Corey Walden, that I came up with is awesome. He's rocking out in the EuroLeague right now. So, but as far as the media stuff, just kind of a coaching failure led me into it, I think. Kind of thought one thing was going to go one way and it went another. And somebody had given me some advice that because my background's actually in law enforcement. So I was in law enforcement. I'm not anymore, but I was, and I actually work in sales now. But the was in law enforcement and kind of just wasn't really my thing. Had to get back into sports, and somebody said, "Hey, you're a good writer." So I got in writing, started my own website a long time ago. Was looking back at it, it was not good writing, but I tell people all the time, you got to get the crap out before you can get the good stuff going. And it's slowly kind of built on. I've got some mentors in the UK media world. John Wong's a big one of them.
Yeah, Dr. John is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a big one of them. Steve Tressler with ESPN Radio is another big one. But I just started doing some writing. Got picked up by a company that does former first responders and former and veterans trying to break into the media and podcasting world. At United We Stand. We actually have a studio over in Nicholasville. And the Cats coverage actually started by covering high school sports and ended up covering UK because of Reed Shepherd with the high school connection. And it just kind of took off. So now sometimes you'll see me up in the press box. Sometimes you'll see me down with the fans. I prefer being down with the fans. It's a lot more fun that way. But
and you can cheer when you can't cheer if you're up in the press box. Yeah,
absolutely. And now you can find my writing at Columbia Magazine, which is a big publication in South Kentucky. You can find it on United We Stand. You can find it all over X. You can find it on soon to be on stateline.com, which that's coming soon. So a lot of places I've started to get picked up, and covering the Cats has always been a dream, and here we are.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So you were right in the middle of it, got everything going, covering the games, the writing, the ball is rolling. You got the crap out, like you said, a while back, and so now the good stuff is here. So, good stuff. Congratulations on all that. And you're also doing a podcast too, right? The Big Blue Ball Pod.
The Big Blue Ball Show. I'm the host of that. I honestly started that more as a I'm not very, if anybody follows me on X, they know I'm not very shy with my words. And I kind of get it out there as well. Not one of these things just one of the things that frustrated me a little bit with traditional media is it kept getting farther away from the fan. And it kept getting like, well, all this stuff's great, but what about the guy that's sitting up at the very top of Rupp? Like, what kind of coverage are you giving him? And that's kind of the way I angle my show and angle my writing. And it ultimately has proved. I mean, it's grown a lot. I can't even, like, I've got people like Adam Zagoria followed me. Like, I was like, what on earth? Like, that it was one of those things that it's just kind of taken off. And I enjoy the heck out of it.
Good stuff. TV, like you always say, there's so many angles you can take, especially with us as Kentucky fans. So many different lanes you can get in, and like you with the angle for the guy up in Rupp's Raptors.
Well, and that's the thing, Coach. I'm out here in Iowa now. I moved out here after I got married, and so I talk to folks that I'm here in Big Ten country. And the thing that people from outside of Kentucky fandom, they may not say it, but they are just shocked that there's so many Kentucky websites. There's so many Kentucky podcasts, and everybody's doing well. And he's like, you all consume your fandom. Like, it's just, I'm like, it's crazy, right? There might be 30 different podcasts covering the Cats, but we're all out here eating. We're all out here doing our thing because the fan base really almost demands it. Not even that, like this, they demand to have all this content. And that's what really separates the BBN from other passionate fan bases, there's so many. Like Alabama doesn't have this, right? Michigan doesn't have this. Like Indiana, you talk about all the alumni they have. They don't have this when it comes to, and it's not even just men's basketball. It's football, right? It's women's basketball. It's when the baseball team is doing something. It's all cats, everything. That's what separates the Kentucky fan base. As I get off my soapbox there, Vinny.
Coach, I saw you quote tweeted the Iowa baseball account, and especially with Terry being out there in Iowa. The Iowa baseball team, and look, we had a tough day for the home opener for the Cats against Moorhead. Iowa scored 34 runs in baseball. Like is Kurt Ferentz, does he need to get Iowa, hitting coach in as the offensive coordinator or what, man?
The offense has got a little bit better under Kirk. Got to give him a little bit of love.
Yeah. But for 34 runs, I said, man, especially with, and look, with you and your lovely wife being married and Kentucky and Iowa in bowl games, and now for Kentucky to lose to Moorhead State while Iowa scored 34 runs. I mean, and the meanwhile in Iowa tweet, Coach, was pretty spot on, because we're over here losing to Moorhead and they're dropping 34 on that team they play.
Real quick, the funny thing about the Iowa connection is they didn't do anything, Iowa and Kentucky, for like 80 years, right? We eventually get Stoops. As soon as we get together, you remember, I think it was 2022, when it came to basketball, it was Keegan Murray and Caitlin Clark and Ryan Howard and Oscar, like at the NABC Players of the Year thing. I'm like, look at Kentucky and Iowa. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, Iowa has a pretty raucous fan base as well, which is pretty. I mean, it's a very underrated fan base, definitely in Iowa City. It reminds me kind of Kentucky, but not like you were saying, not to the level. Covering Kentucky's like covering the Yankees, the Lakers. Like it's just it's different. Like there's no other way about it. But yeah, the Batcats, man, it's not looking good. And the unfortunate thing about the whole process is that I really thought they had momentum this year, and then yet the Tyler Bell thing happens. And I mean, at this point, it's almost like there's a curse. Like it's unreal how many shoulders are getting hurt at this university.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I mean, you can't even blame it on nothing. It's just, the bad luck of the draw. But I still think this team has the ability to do something. That Moorhead loss, I kind of saw that coming. They did the same stuff last year. They would, play Alabama, and you'd be like, whoa, like this, are these guys all going to the league? Like, and then they would come out against, they had a bad loss to Murray State at the time, but Murray State ended up going to the College World Series. But it was one of those things that it's like, I don't understand kind of with the basketball team right now. I don't understand why you can get up for one opponent, but you can't for the next. And it's like, man, as a coach, you got to respect the name on the jersey, no matter what it says. If they're D1, they're good. That's right. I mean, they ain't a slouch. So I tell people all the time that I'm like, if you got a dude that's D1, even if he's playing for Eastern Kentucky or whatever, that dude was the best in his town at what he did.
Yeah, everybody's looking at Malachi now, but Michael did his thing and went to EKU. He came before his brother and had a great high school career in the Sweet 16s, and then went and did his thing there for the Colonels, as you know.
Yeah, you got another one coming next year that just broke the all-time Lexington scoring record last night. Brian Station, his name's Amari Owens. He's headed to Eastern as well, and he could be one to keep an eye on for Kentucky fans. He's a real shifty guard, lefty, but I mean, can score the ball a bazillion different ways, and you can tell he grew up playing like playground basketball. I love it, but it's very not trainer basketball is what I call it. It ain't that.
Okay.
But I could see him making a step up with the portal the way it is, which that's another discussion. But with the portal the way it is, I could see him eventually landing, maybe not Kentucky, but somewhere really close like it. That kid can ball.
Marty Owens.
Speaking of the Cats, where are you as we wind down year 2 on Coach Pope? Where are you for this team? Where are you kind of on the, for lack of better phrasing, the Mark Pope experiment that we're kind of going through?
Good question. The Mark Pope experiment right now, I think, has been a failure. That he came here and it was all, I understand the assignment's to win banners. The assignment's also to win games in the regular season and not go down by double digits. And he knows that. With Mark Pope, I think a lot of the problem this year was in the roster construction. And some of that falls on assistant coaches, quite frankly. Do I think there's some assistant coaches in that office that need to be looking for employment elsewhere this summer? I do. But I think that Mark Pope, I mean, barring disaster, I mean, if you lose every game on out by 30, like obviously something's got to get done. But
right,
barring disaster, I think for this team, I think this team can make the tournament. And I think this team can be a Sweet 16 team. I mean, you can't win 5 games in a row at the SEC level and not be a decent basketball team. So I think deep down at their core, they've got to find what matters to them. And, that the name on the front is going to matter a lot more than the one on the back. And they're going to have to dig in and play, because you're seeing it around the country that March is going to be crazy. So, this team reminds me a lot of 2014, and a loss to Georgia doesn't really change my view on that. I think this fan base the funny part about it is it swings one way or the other, like to the extreme, and oftentimes the truth's right there in the middle. So I think that they'll make the tournament, and I'll say they get bounced in the round of 32. But after that, going into next year, the recruiting thing is a big, big, big concern. And that falls on Pope, and it falls on some assistants too, because you cannot tell me some of those assistants. I know Jason Hart was brought in to recruit, and he's obviously not getting the job done. So I am concerned about next year's roster. And I think even if they get bounced in the round of 32, I think that next year is Final Four or bust for Mark Pope.
Now, Stephen, I've been saying that when we hired Coach Pope, and I didn't want to be negative Nancy, but I knew his resume compared to other folks that have come to Kentucky was thin, right? We know what Cal did at UMass and Memphis. We know what Tubby had done at Tulsa and Georgia. We know what Patino had done. We knew that. My concern was, this isn't the job where you figure out how to be a coach.
No.
Like this just isn't a training wheels job. It'll eat you alive. But I've said, and Vinny, I've been consistent. It's year 3, because by year 3, Cal won a championship. Billy G did not get a year 3. By year 3, Tubby had a championship in hand. By year 3, Coach Patino. Year 3 is the Christian Laettner game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the best game that all these sports writers, the best game we ever saw. Year 4 is a Final Four, right? We kind of grade that on a curve because of the probation. But by year 3, Eddie Sutton had been to an Elite 8.
Yep.
Year 3 is Joe B. Hall putting undefeated Indiana out of the 1975 Final Four.
He
right?
did.
And so, and by year 3, it wasn't Rupp's year 3, but third year of the tournament, Kentucky won it, right? And so I've been telling people, year 3 is the year we know. Like, I try not to get too up and down, as you say. Like, what did the Georgia game really say beyond, we don't know what this team's going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did that change over the previous 20 games, right? Like, so at this point, you can't look at the micro, you got to look at the macro. But I'm with you, Coach. year 3, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I say that because, people are like, oh, we don't want to be Indiana. Indiana didn't drop off because the fans stopped caring. They dropped off because they hired bad coaches and they kept them for too long. That's how Indiana stepped back, right? Because you can have one bad coach. It happens, right? Carolina had Matt Doherty. We can go through every of these programs have had a bad coach. You can't have 2. You can't go back to back because then you're Indiana basketball, right? Your Florida State football, your Nebraska
UCLA.
football, your don't get me started about Mick Cronin. Yeah. I'd forgotten about Steve Lavin. He just got fired from Santa Barbara. I was like, that guy's still coaching. Ain't that something? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is with these young kids, because you go through 2 coaches, that's at least 5 or 6 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for these high school kids, out of sight, out of mind. Them kids don't care nothing about Rupp and Patino and all that kind of stuff. No. And that was always my concern is people assume that like Alabama football is always going to be good. Kentucky's basketball. You got to put work in to keep it going, right? It doesn't just happen. You don't just get to say we're Kentucky. Like the players have to do their part. As you're saying, coach, the assistants have to do their part. The trainers have to do their part. Like what's going on with some of these injuries, right? Like everybody's got to be championship caliber and you can't slack off. So I'm with you.
Yeah. So
what, Auburn this weekend?
Yeah. The only difference is, they had a first half lead and started losing it in the end of the first half instead of getting down and trying to, they just flipped the script on that last night. But
well, he cannot lose to Baby Pearl this weekend. He cannot. I think they'll go in and handle business there. But kind of what you're saying about the whole like the young kids not really caring. I agree. I mean, right now Kentucky is riding that, they've got 6 NBA All-Star. Arkansas is trying to ride that, but
oh my God.
But
have you no shame, Arkansas?
Golly.
But that's what Kentucky's riding on right now. And I mean, you got a guy this year that's probably going to be an NBA lottery pick, but he's sitting on the bench, and it's important, I think, as well, going into next year for, and I know the character issues. I get it. I think you've got to give Stokes what he wants and roll the ball out and say, let's go. That it's to the point that I think you just need to get the best players. And I think that it's going to be really important also to invest some of this money in some of these guys coming back. I want Chandler back, Moreno back would be great. I could see a world where Jasper Johnson could work out. It's one of those things that it's like, that we need to make sure this off season that we're very calculated in who we're targeting and what their exact role is going to be, instead of just, well, we have 2 of everything. We're driving a Corvette and let's ball. It's $22 million. Like that's not going to work. So they need to sit down, probably hire a GM and say that, here's where the money's going. Here's the way we're playing. Here's how the minutes should kind of look. And, barring something crazy, let's do it this way, instead of saying, well, the analytics aren't working. So let's just play basketball.
And like we talked about before the season, I try not to call out players, right? I try not to be that person. But Vinny, you and I had a conversation about Garrison, and every time I coach, I'm kind of teaching my wife about basketball. She's Iowa. She's more wrestling than basketball. So we're watching games and everything. And so she's like, what's this person doing? And I'm explaining stuff. But every time Brandon Garrison's out there, I'm like, what is he doing? Like, what is he doing? Like, he took that 3 last night, and I thought about John Thompson. Is that your shot? Like, that can't be the shot that we're taking. And then, lo and behold, I think it was Dane Bradshaw was like, he hasn't hit a shot since the Gonzaga game. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, that was Thanksgiving? What are we doing? So I don't know. But like you've got to know. And that's been the biggest thing about this team is we don't know what 5 guys are going to get it done, right? Like going back to 2014, like you're saying, Coach, we kind of knew what that 7-person rotation was going to be. It was only a matter of time of getting them to do what they needed to do, right? And once they figured that out, like, hey, Julius, you don't need to do that spin move every time they're waiting on it. Like, you can pass that ball back out, right? Okay. Then they go on that run. But like every game, I don't know. I don't know if Oweh's going to get his 20 efficiently, or is it going to be not efficient? Are they going to forget about Colin Chandler for a stretch, right? We don't know. Is Yelich going to hit you a couple of shots, or is he going to be out there doing cardio? Like, and that's got to be frustrating as a coaching staff. So I'm with you. There needs to be some intentionality about how are we going to do this next year. Everybody on the roster's got a job, and that's what we're going to coach them to do. That's what we're going to prepare them to do is do this job.
Exactly. And I think you also need to look at some of the intangible things and some of the players. And I mean, I'm talking about toughness is, you want some dogs in there that are, I think of Michael Kidd Gilchrist when I think of that word, that I'm like, would this guy let a little bit of fluid stop him from playing? No way. That dude was a lion on the court, and he was playing with another lion in Anthony Davis. And I just think this team's lacking a lion right now, and that it doesn't have that guy that's like, no, we're getting up at 6 a.m. You're going to be in the gym, and if you're not there, like, I will make it my priority to make sure that you get your priorities straight.
You got to answer to me. Forget the coach. You got to answer to me. Well, Coach, another thing I've noticed is you say you're a defensive kind of guy. Like, what frustrates me when I'm watching is you can get yourself a position where you don't get screened. And that's hustle, that's moving your feet and all this kind of stuff. So when I see guys get screened off on lukewarm screens, that frustrates me. Like, that is a effort thing. That is a technique thing. If I get beat, I get beat, but I'm going to get through that screen. Does that frustrate you when you see little things like, come on, man? Like,
yeah, it does. And quite frankly, it comes from Kentucky doesn't play up the passing line far enough. They're playing, if you paused really any possession, any defensive possession, they're behind the line. If anything, you want to be over it to the other side and make that play to where you can turn and sprint back instead of trying to backpedal and do all that whatever drop coverage is. But that Kentucky right now, I think if I were on this staff, I would just like to see it just for maybe like a 4-minute stretch, playing maybe even past the line and shutting down every single passing lane, forcing them to take players one-on-one, because I think we've got some athletes on this team that I'm willing to gamble with that. Are all of our players great defenders? No, but when you're playing at the rim, which is where that possession would end up, athleticism matters a lot. And you've also got a 7'1" guy down there to catch you on the weak side. So I would really, really like to see Kentucky play up the line a little more on defense.
And sticking on the fact that you're a defensive coach and you got that coach in the eye, this might be a dumb question. I'm going to throw it out there to both y'all. But we know how basketball has changed. We know what the NBA looks for. JQ, no disrespect, but all we hear is lottery pick, lottery pick, lottery pick, lottery pick. Why and how? Because, 20 years ago, he's a more athletic Ben Wallace. Not a lot of offensive skill that we've seen even before he came to Kentucky. He hit the little bank shot when he came against St. John's. Shot blocking, athleticism, freaky, tweaky, and all that. But they want guys that can hit shots at the NBA level. So why, or what am I missing? I don't mean anything bad towards him at all, but why is potential and all that? But why is he a lottery pick? And offensively, I don't really see much.
He actually can shoot. he's actually got an outside shot to his game. Now it's not, he doesn't get very vertical on it, which I don't know. If you're his height and you're big, not getting, I don't know. Jokic doesn't, but it comes to on defense. It comes down ultimately. They're going off of his arm length. So he's got like a 7'5" wingspan or something like that, and that usually equates to shot blocking. You see episodes like he had in the St. John's game where you're like, oh my gosh, like you cannot score around the rim on him. Like that I'm going to have to throw something a mile in the air. And at that point you're just playing horse. And that I see what teams are thinking, but ultimately when it comes down to JQ, if this truly is a lingering thing with the knee, at this point, I would be hesitant to take him just because, I'm old enough to remember Greg Oden, Sam Bowie, all that, that it didn't quite work out that way. So I need to see some toughness from him, but I also think we're at the point in the season where if we don't see him in the next game or two, that you need to just kind of go on.
Yeah, you need to pull the plug, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm right there with you. No matter what he can bring, again, it goes back to everybody needs to know their role, and I think this team got better when we understood. Okay, Lowe's not coming back. JQ is going to be shut down for a while, because then you can work with whatever you have. If it's in out, that's what messes things up.
Yeah, I mean, if I could have any of the players back, it would be Cam Williams is the one I would want. But and that's just for 3-point shooting purposes. But I mean, with JQ, it's been extremely frustrating for sure. Definitely, you don't want to question a guy that's saying he's been shut down medically, but it's the timing was awful suspicious with some family members posts on social media. And that somebody posted that he thought he was being misused, and we haven't seen him since. So the ultimate thing that comes down to me though is that you can blame the kid all you want, it's going to do no good. What you need to do is redirect that more towards the staff and be like, why are we spending whatever we spent $2.5 million on JQ coming off a torn ACL that you're going to have him by December, maybe. Like, I just don't think that's a $2 million dice roll that we should have taken.
Right. It goes back to, we need to figure out who we're going to be, and not, again, I'm with you. Rolling dice, I don't know, especially with the amount of money that we're rolling out for these guys. It seemed to be a big, I guess we hit craps. I don't know. I don't gamble, but I'm clearly, clearly I don't. But I'm with you.
And the more frustrating thing is, that there's guys that you go in and you interview, and this isn't me like being salty or anything like that, but they're making more money than most of these reporters will ever make playing college basketball. And it's really frustrating when effort is a question, because the NBA All-Star game, that they showed a little effort this last time, but the in the NBA they're at least giving effort. You can have the talk about tanking, but putting bad players on the floor doesn't equate to bad effort. It just means You're putting bad basketball players on the floor. And I think it comes down to some of these scouts are going to have to put their foot down and say, hey, yeah, you're nice and yeah, you have potential, but why don't you get back on defense and actually hold their feet to the fire and say, all right, well, you tested the waters. There's my feedback. So you need to show effort every minute, every second that you play next year, show intentionality and why I should give you millions of dollars to come play for my basketball team.
Because that's the basic construct of why we do sports, why we watch sports, right? Like I say all the time, Coach, sometimes your team's going to be bad, right? Like I go back to that non-win Kentucky team, right? People like all that. Those, they brought it, right? There were a lot of one possession games they lost, right? But they kept showing up. I never thought that they had quit, and they could have, right? Like that thing went south pretty fast, right? And it was clear this is not going to go the way we think. But the social contract is, if I spend money to watch you play, or I'm watching you on TV or whatever it is, you got to try, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, tanking, when you're going half speed, I'm not with it. But if you're just got a bunch of young guys playing, okay, they're still trying, right? The effort is still there. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to hang our hat on, is even if we lose by 20, don't be out here dogging it, right? That was the thing of the Vanderbilt game, the inbound play. Like, you can't have that, man. Like, getting blown out by Vanderbilt, that hurts. But that kind of play where it's like you have checked out, that's what I can't abide by. And it comes to having a little bit of pride for both the name on the front and the back, right? Like, you can't be out here dogging it for Kentucky. I can't be dogging it with Brown on my back, because coach gonna get this side and my dad's gonna get the other side. Like, what are you doing out here? That's the one thing we can't abide by, right? Your baseball team, you got to run that play out to first, right? Your football team, hey, you got to go over the middle. Like, this is what we do. Don't be dogging it out here, right? So I'm right there with you when it comes to that.
Especially if you're making all that money, it's quite literally your job to give effort. And that I don't think it's unreasonable to expect it, even if you're down. I could argue as a coach that if you're down, you should be showing more effort than when you're up. Trying to fight back. And it ultimately comes down to pride. It comes down to, it all traces back to AAU, is where it traces back to. Going into a lot of these AAU arenas. I'm not shy about it. I've coached in AAU. I hate it. I think it's a terrible way to play basketball. I think you look at the modern players in the NBA, you're seeing more international flavor. The better players are international players. The last 5 MVPs in the NBA were all international players, and that's for a reason. That's because they are practicing the game of basketball to win, and they are not practicing the game of basketball chasing a bag of money.
No, yeah, right there with you. JR that we had on before you has brought that up a whole bunch. That kind of stuff matters to folks, right? Like, again, goes back to hustle and effort and making the right play at the right time. Man, I sound like an old person, Vinny. I sound old as all get out today, but you make the right play at the right time. Like, that's simple yet hard. That's all we ask for, right?
Yep. Dive to the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think we've all had a coach where if the ball is right there at your feet and you're not on the ground to get it, well, you owe me some laps. Like, that's basic stuff.
You're gonna be on the ground soon.
Right. Like, okay, you miss a couple of shots, but a ball hits your foot and you're bending at the hips to get it.
No. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Come on now. Come sit over here. Put that warm up back on.
That's right. Absolutely right. So what you got lined up next, Coach? What's the next piece you gonna write? Or
well, I'm gonna obviously finish out basketball season, men's and women's. I cover both. So I cover the main 4 sports. I consider the main 4 sports: football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball. I'll straight up tell you, I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to football, but it's fun. And I'm going to be diving heavy into Batcats, which is kind of on the UK side of things where I got my foot in the door. So I'm excited about it. I think this baseball team has got more interest behind it maybe than ever. And that it's, that it's time. Mingione had that famous quote. There you go.
Omaha is like an hour and a half from me, and I always promise myself, hey, if they make it, I'm going. I went, and I was there for that first game over NC State, and woo, coach, I was showing out. Vinny, you seen the pictures? I was showing straight out there in Omaha.
And college baseball is great, and I love it. And I think that it's one of the few college sports where NIL has actually been handled correctly, and that all these guys are still very much into it together, very much playing as a team, very much behind each other, wanting to support each other. A bunch of them follow me on X, and it's like I'll post something and it's like mildly positive, and then it's like all of them start liking it. And it's just that kind of thing, just the purity of the sport that you love to see. And it's so random too. In the MLB, you have the Dodgers and the Dodgers and the Dodgers. And but in college baseball, you got a lot of teams that can make some noise. I mean, Louisville was ranked 8th in the country, lost twice last weekend to an unranked bad Michigan State team. So I think college baseball season is going to be great. I think it's wide open. I think there's probably, by my estimation, about 18 teams that could win it, and Kentucky's one of them. And it is it's going to come down to pitching and obviously health. Can't lose. Losing Tyler Bell sucks, but I think this team can get past that and get to their goal. But yeah, I'll be out at Kentucky Proud Park most weekends doing the Batcat stuff.
Good stuff, man. Looking forward to seeing everything you put out there. Basketball season, when it winds down, see you out there on the diamond for sure. Got to tell everybody about the hat, the merch. We see it blowing up on social media. We see everybody with hats.
Yeah, State Line. They those are my guys over there. They been real good to me. But if you use code Coach Ryan 25 on statelinecode.shop, you'll get 25% off anything in your cart. So they've just got licensed by the University of Kentucky. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of their stuff. You've been seeing them on the banners at Rupp. You've been seeing them Kentucky Proud Park. They're doing a lot with the UK men's golf team right now. And like I said, you'll be able to see my writing on their site as well pretty soon, as another place I'm going to distribute my articles.
Good stuff, man.
Absolutely, that's what I need is more hats, Vinny. So I've been eyeing State Line for a while.
Yeah,
hey, these corduroy ones, man, they're nice.
I gotta represent out here in the Midwest, man. I let them know. That's how my neighbors know I'm the Kentucky guy.
Yeah.
Because every time I'm outside my house, I let them know, man.
Got to. And that hat is clean too. Just blue with the white outline of the state. That's clean, man. It really is.
Yeah, and they've got it in a few different colorways. And I know they just came out with one that went with the denim book twos for you sneakerheads out there that had the denim bill on it. That's pretty cool too. And it's got the official UK logo.
Yeah, the denim logo. Yeah, I got
official.
you.
Yeah.
Official, that's right. Well, Coach, congratulations on everything.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you taking time to hop on here with us. We have to get you back on here again, maybe before basketball's over, and throughout the spring and summer with seeing the journey for baseball. So much success to you, and appreciate you taking time to hop on here on Cat Talk Wednesday and chop it up with us, man.
Absolutely, guys. Anytime. I'm happy to hop on. I'm always down to talk to cats, and thanks for having me on.
Yes,
absolutely.
Sir.
Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Coach Ryan KY on X. Appreciate him hopping on, and JR. Couple guests back to back. We got to talk about this All-Star game too, TB, because you and I think we're the last two to stop defending it when we're talking about effort all this time.
Yeah.
And the lack of effort got to the point where you and I were like, okay.
Well, I told you, I think last week before it, you had to have a crazy person that takes it a little too serious, right? You need a Michael Jordan to take it. That's the difference. Like, I think when people say, well, the NBA, look at all the scores from those All-Star games. Well, yeah, because for the first like 3 quarters of the game, and you and I have said that forever, the first 3 quarters was a lot of this dipsy-do, dunkaroo, this kind of stuff. But there was a stretch where it was serious basketball. It helped in the 80s because you had 4 Celtics and 4 Lakers. And, they only played, home and home during the season. And they were gunning for each other. Because I saw something the other day. The Lakers and Celtics played in every finals for like 12 straight years. Either one of them was in, right? And so you had that. And then you get Jordan coming in, who once they froze him out in that first one, he took it serious. And then Kobe took it serious. Right? Again, not that they were all 100% great games. The games are often 150-something to 130-something, right? But again, the effort took a precipitous downturn the last 10 years. You can't blame LeBron, right? Like everything about the NBA can't be LeBron's fault. It was one of these things that just happened, and you couldn't defend it.
Yeah.
I do think that they're going to have to revamp the events before the All-Star game. The dunk contest, I think they need to do like they did in the mid-90s and stop doing it. I just think it's time to re-envision something else. Like what that next thing is, I don't know. But you can't have the 3-point shooting clock contest in the middle of the day. Like,
Yeah,
I saw people tweeting about it. I'm like, that's now? The sun's still up.
I guess
Like,
because the Olympics, I guess, was the only reason, right?
I don't know, but man. But the game itself,
yeah.
Look, did I sit and watch the whole thing? I did not. I saw people like, oh, they out here hooping. I was like, well, and I came, I was like, oh, okay, you getting down defensive stand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Wemby decided we're taking this serious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Crazy person? Yes.
Yeah.
Because you need a crazy person. Remember, Kobe got his nose broken at the one All-Star game because he was D'ing up D Wade hard, and D Wade got him back and broke his nose. Like, you need somebody that's like, I'm gonna get my nose broken this All-Star game. Like, that's what makes it great.
Which is why you can't blame LeBron for everything, but I blame him for that a little bit because he was the face of the league, and I mean, I'm not saying everything is his fault, but if he had set the tone, they would have followed him. Just like they just followed this dude in his second year, Wemby. They followed his lead. So I'm not saying everything, but I'm giving them some of that blame.
But the thing about LeBron's been doing this for 22 years. Like, he was playing, like, you look back at those 07, 08 All-Star games, like he's playing in them, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else got to step up because by the time it starts dipping, he's in his 12th or 13th year. Ain't nobody else gonna be. He got to do this for 2 decades. That's all I'm saying is he got to be the one for 2 decades to do it.
Well, not for 2, but can you at least start it? And
but he played hard. Like, go back and watch those 08 games and 07 games. Like, he's playing. Like, he was there when Dwayne Wade broke Kobe's nose because LeBron's out here hot dogging and Kobe locked him up. If you remember, like, Kobe's like, nah, we not doing, and locked him up. And then he started, it's like, oh, okay. And then they kind of went at it a little bit. But he did it for 12 years.
Yeah.
Somebody else got to step it up. Like, I'm not going to give him like a pat. He's not responsible for every single thing. Because a lot of times these are grown people.
Yeah.
But I do say you need somebody young and fresh, be like, I'm taking this serious. I sent you that clip this past week. We talked about you, that crazy person, Pedro at the 99 All-Star game, right? It just happened to come across my feed. And what did he say? He's like, I talked to Hank Aaron before this game, and Hank Aaron said, you a heck of a pitcher. We honoring Ted Williams in Boston. I got Boston on my chest. And he came out, and I sent you that tweet. I can't remember off the top of my head. It was like McGuire and Sosa and BG. Like, he struck out 6 for 6. He's like, I ain't here laughing and joking. I'm being serious with this, right? That's what you need to keep the game. Like, again, that's why football had to stop, because the dudes we grew up with watching took it too serious.
Yeah.
When Sean Taylor, God rest his soul, took out that punter on the trick play, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. When you get hit and your legs go like a cartoon, oh, no, you taking it too serious. Then why are we playing football? If I'm going to put these pads on, right? And so I hope the NBA has kind of found a groove. They need to just go back to East versus West.
Because the same thing, I was saying the same thing. The same thing we saw could have still happened East and West. Wemby going at, Cat and Jalen Duren and whoever for the East, that still could have happened. I was happy to see 3. I didn't turn on the first game until it was almost overtime, because I was like, well, I ain't even watching this. But flipped it on, and they was going. Like you said, you flipped it on, they was going. The second quarter, same thing. Third quarter, same thing. Kawhi did his thing. Anthony Edwards. Wemby was so pissed that they lost.
Yeah.
Why did you not go guard the three?
And see, the thing about it, Kawhi actually played hard, right?
Yeah.
And then the people that talk about the league, well, we'll see what happens in April. Like, y'all beg these dudes to act like they care.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think we need to dissect how we talk about basketball. Because like I said with JR, when the talking heads devalue the regular season, then it is like 82 games does seem like a slog because y'all don't care to tell no stories.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing to happen was when the Steph Curry and them, the Warriors, went 73-9 and didn't win a championship. And the joke was all those wins and you didn't even get a chip. That was when it was like, oh, this ain't got nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can still, I know it's not an apples to oranges comparison, but that's why the NFL matters is you'll soon have 18 games, but you gotta care, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baseball with 162 games, does each individual game mean something? No, your Braves can drop a game to the Cubs. It's not going to impact nothing, right? But still, you have to act like it matters, right? Like, you have to present stuff like it matters. That's why I do love the NBA on NBC acting like this stuff matters, right? I watched my Lakers and the Knicks, right? They had Caitlin Clark out there. But give us a show, right? Have Bob Costas give us those soliloquies and act like this stuff matters, right? Now, I disagree that the Knicks matter, but hey, man, I had to break it down to my wife. I said, it's basically every time, because we're watching the pregame because, she's from the same neck of the woods as Caitlin, so she's waiting for Caitlin. She's like, when was the last time the Knicks won? I said, 1973. She's like, what? I was like, they doing all this waxing poetic. I was like, it would be like the Mets talking about how special Shea Stadium and Citibank Field is. And it's like, my only memories of Madison Square Garden is Jordan putting them out. Its opponents going for 50. That's all my memories is Reggie Miller choking, MJ, putting them out, Charles Smith missing a layup. Like, those are my memories. The Heat putting them out. Those are my, at 94, your Rockets. What are we doing? But I got to sit here and hear about how special it is just because it's in New York City.
It's the world's most famous arena.
Yeah, well, the pub on that, okay. Yeah, like, well, I told you there's the world's largest truck stop here in Iowa. I watched a little documentary about it. They interviewed the lady, like, so how did you officially, know you're the world's largest? She's like, we just started saying it. And nobody said nothing about it. And I admire that. Like, I ain't hating. Like, just keep saying it.
Self-proclaimed.
Like, that's how the hot dog eating contest became a thing. The guy running it just said, we gonna make this a special thing. And now it's on ESPN. And I watch it every 4th of July. So
sure do.
For New York being what it is, outside the Yankees, what are we doing here? The Jets are boo-boo. The Giants, like, in the Super Bowl era, what do you got? Eli Manning, he got his jersey retired, and Phil Simms. I know, Kentucky boy, but them your two quarterbacks? Like, I don't know. But anyway, going back, you've got to let folks know that this stuff matters.
Yeah.
Tell a little bit of history. Give us some context about what's going on. Instead of telling us why this is LeBron James' fault. That's all like, who's the face of the man? I don't care who the face of the league is. I'm tired of seeing, I know you probably see these accounts. Here's Shaq's top 10 players all time. Man, he does this like 8 times a year. I don't care.
Yeah.
Or what would Michael Jordan do? I don't care what Michael Jordan would do in 2026. I don't care. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, that's
like you can give honor, or not really honor, but you can talk about what people are doing without crapping on other players. That's the thing too.
Mm-hmm. You still should have, you could have gotten a dunk contest when that it don't say you're gonna do it and then not.
Well, the funny thing was, and I meant to tag you in this tweet. I saw this tweet. Somebody had gotten newspaper clippings from, was it 1990? I can't remember what year it was, but it was the year no Jordan, no Dominique, and no Spud Webb. So it might have been 89, 90. And this person said, cancel the dunk contest because if Michael Jordan got called out because he stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like he was not participating. Like this is not brand new. Like we all act like all this stuff is brand new, but there have been calls to get rid of the dunk contest because the stars won't do it for 30 years, for 40 years. Like,
and they did. I ain't saying they didn't. To me, look, they did, and they didn't have to do it. They chose to do it. Deke chose to do it. Spud, Mike, those they chose to do it. It got to a point where our time has passed, and I wasn't mad when they didn't. I mean, Neek did it in '90. Neek won it in '90. Kenny Walker won the one in '89. So I was. Yeah. I mean, they weren't there, but I remember being hype about Kenny. I wasn't mad that Jordan wasn't in it. Kobe did it. Kobe did it once. And I wasn't. Nobody said he had to do it 5 times, but he chose to do it.
I saw something that makes sense to me is if you remember the last real good one was 2016 with Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, or is it Levine? I don't know how to say his name, LaVine or Levine. Forgive me. But since then, since Steph took off, most guys I think are focusing on that deep shot and not just farting around trying new dunks in the lab. That's my 2 cents. Is the focus has gotten away from the dunking because you don't see a lot of posters like you used to.
Anthony Edwards will yam on some people.
Yeah,
in game, and I think he'd be a good dunk contest dunker. He has the past couple of years added the 3 to his game, and he's shooting the 3 a lot more efficiently. But he's I forget he dunked on some people where he put it on some people. And
I'm not saying you're not gonna see him, but it's I think it's just a focus on I'm gonna get out here and shoot these shots, man. And because honestly, and this is what happens if you look at all the great dunk contest or all the dunk contests, it's ebbs and flows. Like we remember the great ones, like off the top of my head, 2016 was great. Probably before that, the Vince Carter one, right? Mm-hmm. And of course the ones we were kids, but there's a lot of them. I know Dwight Howard won one and Blake Grip, but like it part of the reason too is I was a kid when this was going on. Like I knew what D Brown did, pump. Yeah, I knew what Isaiah Ryder did. I knew what Spud Webb did. But when I became an adult, it I think that's part of it too, is a lot of the stuff, for nostalgia, when you were a kid, everything was better.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever have something when you were a little kid, like a store or something, when you were a little kid, like this place is awesome. There was a place, I can't remember what it is, like, oh, this is great. Begging your parents to take you there. And then you go there and adult, you're like, this is terrible. Like this is what I was talking about. Like in your mind, you built it up. It's this thing. And then you watch it or go to it. You're like, this is terrible. Right. Like, because sometimes that's the way the world worked when you're a kid. Like I've gone back. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Watch the Masters of the Universe. He-Man, the Masters of the Universe. I'm going to see that movie when it comes out, by the way. But I went back and I'm like, this is bad. Like this makes no sense. But as a kid, you couldn't tell me nothing about He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be there with my snacks like, uh-oh, he going to get my sword. And I'm like, this is all the same. And I was like, oh, look at all these characters, to realize they're just trying to sell me toys. Yes. Right? You take a step back and it's like, oh, okay, I see what the get down is. You know, nothing humble you more than sharing something with your kids from when you were a kid, and they like,
yeah.
What is this? Like I remember hooked up my old Nintendo NES system. Like, it's just 2 buttons, and you can't even really go diagonal. I'm like, yeah, you played this? I'm like, yeah, like,
yeah. Yeah.
That's what happened.
Not impressed at all.
Yeah, no.
Oh man, yeah, it'll happen to them one day.
Circle of life. Circle
Absolutely.
of life. But one quick thing, look, I've been very clear about, look, I want Kentucky basketball. I want Kentucky to win everything all the time. But I'm he's gonna get year 3, Coach Pope is.
Mm-hmm.
I just need all these losing milestones to stop. Like last night, somebody shared that Georgia's won 3 out of 4 for the first time since 1921.
Yeah.
And, Missouri won for the first time ever. And I get it. The teams are better, right? The SEC is better than it has been. I get that, right? But like, by the same token, we can't. I'm tired of being down double digits in every Power 4 game that we play. Even when we get up first, we get down double digits.
Yeah.
And I said, like, hey, I quote tweeted, I think, I can't remember who it was, but like, hey, since 1921. I had somebody respond to me, hey, Cal's not coming back, Cal. Like, look, I ain't say nothing about Cal. 1921 predates Adolph Rupp.
Yeah.
Like, we went the entire 20th century and 100 years of basketball, and we got this. So I understand injuries. It's a work in progress. Things change. But because you texted me, you called a round of shots. All I know is when it comes to men's college basketball, whatever the landscape looks like, Kentucky stays one of the best. That's all I'm asking for. Well, it changed, man. Stop telling me that. I'm not trying to run him out of Lexington. It's got to stop, man.
Even in the good times, you think to the home win against Tennessee, the comeback against Tennessee, the largest halftime second half deficit in the history of Rupp Arena. Then, and I was going back and forth with Corey Price. So even in that win, great, you won, but you still were down, and it was the largest halftime deficit in the history of the building. And Corey said previous to that, they were down 12 and 06 to Arkansas and came back and won that. But we're already breaking that record. Yes, it's a win, but we still have to look at the Corey Price stuff, even in that situation.
Yeah, Georgia first back-to-back win since 89-90. The probation teams. Yeah. Bro, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, I get that those teams are better, but we should be better. Like, I don't care how good Georgia is. I don't care how many Wilkinses they got on the team.
Yeah.
This should not happen. That's all I'm saying. I don't care if Vanderbilt puts all their great players, Scottie Pippen Jr. and Dan Lange and whoever you want to put together on one team. We should not be down 30 points to them.
No.
Ever. Like, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, SEC is better, but if we the best, but I'm going to let it go. I ain't going to try to get too wound up. I do think they win on Saturday because who knows?
That'd be about right. They go down and when they look the bleakest, they'll pull the win out.
Yeah, so I'm a rock with them. And I think, look, I know I've gone from, hey, you got to give the coach more time to maybe that time is going to be up. Because this is going to sound terrible, but again, it's different when you have a Hall of Fame coach and you're like, I hope he can get it back. I've seen him do it. I hope he can do it. And now it's like, I think he can. Like, I think he can get the job done. And I'm sorry, getting the job done is not a Sweet 16. It just simply isn't.
Nope.
So prove me wrong, get to the Elite Eight, Final Four. Like if I got to eat my crow, I'll get 11 herbs and spices and eat my crow. Because as Coach would say, like, look, we know how wide open stuff is. And every year there's like a couple of teams that you wrote off in the middle of the season, but they show up and you're like, oh, okay. So I don't know what's going to happen. But I tell you, Carolina and Kentucky both got coaches that played here, that played at this. Both had, because Hubert Davis run to the title game and then Coach K's career. Fantastic, right? A couple years ago. Got Coach K out of the paint in the Final Four. But did you see before Kentucky came on last night? Lost to NC State by the largest margin since 1962.
Yeah.
So Kentucky and North Carolina has got coaches that have maybe given you a sliver of hope, but also worst losses in 50 years.
Yeah. Is this like, is Caleb getting hurt like Nerlens for them? I don't know. I mean, he's their best.
Yeah. The 2013 team makes the tournament with a healthy Nerlens. Like I don't think that's
so that was them losing. That was like our Tennessee 88-58 at Knoxville right after Nerlens got hurt.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But we'll see. Look, I'm down for it. I've not cleaned all season. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I did a little something during the LSU comeback. So don't let me be. But I don't set it up like that because I'm like, we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're all over the place. You just don't know one game to the next. You don't know what's going to happen.
And Louisville lost the other night, so I think both teams might end up in Dayton.
At this point, yeah.
You see that one bracketology? I think it was the Sporting News. It was Kentucky and UCLA as the 6-11 game.
Oh.
I was like, man, don't let me. That's 19 combined titles, and they're gonna be the 6-11 game. Yeah. Come on, man.
Mick Cronin pulled a Singletary and Holland goes off the court, man.
He got to be gone. He got to be gone. Like he's going through his Billy G phase of fighting the media.
Yeah,
you need to stop losing by 30 points.
Yeah,
and him and somebody else, was it Oregon's coach? Somebody else was talking about the former Pac-10 schools having to play in the Big Ten. The women's teams ain't got that problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like right now, UCLA women, because they put it on Iowa a couple weekends ago, they number 2 in the country. The women got it. The USC women playing well. Like I think Oregon's also ranked. Washington's ranked. Like
what's the problem?
Yeah, like come on now. Like Oregon football's doing it. Don't talk about travel and all this kind of stuff. Like if these teams can do it, maybe you should go talk to the women's coach.
Nope.
But yeah, Mick Cronin got to go. Yeah, you can't be out here embarrassing the program, man.
Oh,
get you out of here like Jerome Tang.
Man, yeah, we got the man. We got.
Hey, I didn't take offense to what he said after the Kentucky game. He just said we had more dudes, which I watched that game. They had more dudes. I don't think that was. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
But by the same token, you can't be out here with your chest on, but we got dudes. And then when you lose, I ain't got no dudes. Like, I don't think that was a fireable offense, but
for cause, no. But to go from that, his shining moment, his one shining moment, knocking us out to this that quickly to They won an 11 in the Big 12 or whatever they.
Hey, yeah, don't look at what Baylor's record is. Baylor is,
Man. And that he was what, our second choice? He was.
yeah. I mean,
his family was coming around looking at houses and stuff. And,
I think that, and look, I don't want to roll this out, but the next coach, it's going to be a full court press, and we're going to have to overpay. Because again, the last coach to lose to Georgia in Rupp Arena, that was his last home game as head coach of the University of Kentucky.
Yeah.
My baby girl that just got her official driver's license was like 3 weeks old.
Yeah.
Like,
yep. Exactly.
yeah, but drove tank. Like, I got no problem with, like, you win, you get to say stuff like that. You don't want them to say stuff like that. Don't lose to them.
Yeah, that's why Ty Golden, popping off about $22 million roster, and Nate Oates talking about when Kentucky gets the ball into their bigs, they're not passing out. Hey, we can't
talk, man.
Yeah,
because and look, I got no problem with that. I saw a lot of Kentucky fans take umbrage. I have been around long enough to when Patino was on his run, how he would talk about other teams. Just like the old ball coach, I know what he would talk about. And I know what Coach Cal would say about other teams too.
Yeah.
So
Rick,
I'm not mad about it. You beat them. Say what you got to say.
Rick, Wade Houston doing great down here in Tennessee. He needs an extension.
Right.
We love him.
Yeah. Like, come on, man.
Wade's biggest fan, man.
We've talked about that before. Bring back coaches with some passion. Don't give me not Mick Cronin passion.
Yeah.
But give me a little. I like when coaches would jab at each other. Like, give me that. Give me that snark. That's what makes college sports great, is when the coaches really don't like each other. Again, I was here when Patino was at Louisville and Cal was at Kentucky. Those dudes, I don't care what they say, did not like each other. And when it became clear that Cal had won, like it was 13-2 or whatever it was, head to head, Cal had a subtle way of letting Rick know, I've got your number. Right? So, but give me more of that. Bobby Knight, and I hate quoting Bobby Knight, famously said he was down big to LSU, and he said, I was worried about it until I looked down the end of the bench and I saw Dale Brown was the coach. And hey, man, and he wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Like, people, again, we talk about the teams Cal didn't get it done with. How do you not get a Final Four with Shaq, Stanley Roberts, and Chris Jackson? We talked about the comeback, the Mardi Gras miracle. Again, how do you give up 67 points in 15 minutes? All they had to do was just hold the ball for I think it was a 45-second shot clock at that point. Just hold the ball. Just that's all you got to do. Dribble it out. As good as a comeback is on this side, just hold the ball. What are you doing?
Yeah, man, Davis.
Anyway, so another good show. Like having some good guests to talk about a bunch of stuff. Coach and JR.
And got a message from our guy, Craig Bates. He said that this Sunday at 9:30 on the Discovery Channel. Remember, we had him on.
Yeah.
Him and his wife Jenny are going to be on the episode of Filthy Fortunes Sunday, 9:30 p.m. on the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, he sent me that text. We're gonna check it out.
Yeah, and Craig being Craig, he said he's now lost 30 pounds because he said on TV he looked like William H. Taft. So
there you go. There you go. So, our largest president.
As Craig, as only Craig can make fun of himself.
Yes, sir.
But check that out, y'all. Y'all have seen Craig. Craig been on here about as many times as JR, 5011. Always giving hockey insight. So 9:30, Discovery Channel. Check him and his wife out on Filthy Fortunes. So He said he would let us know back when he was on last time. So there it is. Check him out. Fun show, like you said, TB. Good guest. Always appreciate you. You got the Houston Rockets jersey on, the San Diego Padres hat. The Rockets used to play in San Diego before moving to Houston. So I see what you're doing.
I'm all over the place. My wife said I look like a hobo getting on here, looking like Adam Sandler. Was like, why do you think that shirt matches? Like it does, it doesn't. But whatever.
That's all right. It's fine. It's fine. But we'll be back next week talking about whatever happens in Auburn and whatever the baseball and softball team does and all that good stuff. And might have some more guests and just tune in and see what we're doing. Appreciate Gerard Baker, who said he was going to be watching from work as soon as we put this post out about today's episode. JB is a top fan of the show. So shout out to the homie JB. And we'll get on off here, man. Thanks to Ben Sudderth and the BS3 Network. Thanks to TB. We are out. Cats Talk Wednesday. See everybody later on. Cats.